Here we are, part 6. So we're back on the club lake. I'm here with my mate Chris, and it's what time is it now? It is 10:30, and nothing's happened.
It's quiet.
It's quiet. So there's only a couple of other lads on the lake, and there's not a lot happening. It's quite a still, clear night. It's not really cold at the moment. It's still quite mild, but we're certainly hopeful of a bite. And I'll show you in the morning where we are. But we've spread the rods out a bit, and hopefully we can nick one out. But it's getting to that time of year where it's a bit slower, and hopefully we can get a bite. But it's more of a hope now than a sort of no, because we haven't really seen a show. So there's not a lot doing, there's not a lot showing. There's been a few lads on during the day, and there hasn't really been anything out. So we know they're around. We have heard a couple crash around, but it depends how much they're moving really, and we'll kind of see what happens during the night. But fingers crossed, next time we check in, it'll be either Chris having a fish or me. And fingers crossed that will be the next part of the check-in, and we can have a nice one on the bank. One between us will be nice. Be a good result tonight, I think.
Definitely.
With the way it's going. So we've had a few beers. The rum is being drunk. We're making the most of it, and that's all you can do when the fish aren't biting. So we'll see what happens. All right. So cheers, and hopefully we'll fish in. And we'll check in next time with the fish. Good morning. Very quiet night last night. Not a lot going on at all. Yeah, not good. No movement, nothing showing. I don't think there was anything caught on the lake at all last night by anybody. Certainly not me and Chris. But yeah, it's that time of year, isn't it? It's just sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. It's one of those. Rods are in good positions. I'm quite happy with where they are. Decent spots. There was a lad up here yesterday. He was up for the day. He did have one, but he said he'd roamed around the lake for most of that day, and he hadn't really seen anything. To be fair, he kind of just went on an instinct thing with one of the swims he chose, and thought he'd try a spot, and he got lucky. He didn't see anything to go off. That's just the way it is. Sometimes it can happen like that. But I'm gonna have some porridge, refuel. I'm gonna bring the rods in, reset them, and when I do that, I'll show you the rigs and you know, the little bags that I'm putting on, just so you can see where they're going really, and we'll see what happens. But it's very still, very calm, no ripple on the water or anything. It's like a mill pond out there. So Not sure what will happen, but we've got to be in it to win it, as they say. You're not going to catch them sitting on the sofa. So if we're here, we've got a chance. And I'll check in when I bring the rods in once I finish my porridge, and we'll see how we get on. That's it. Right, so I thought I'd show you the rig. Just brought one of the rods in, gonna reset it, and as you can see, it's a very straightforward rig, simple leg clip setup. There's about 5 inches of uncoated braid on there, a bit of putty in the middle just to sink it down. Goes down to a size 6 long shank hook with rig on there, fishing blowback style. Nice coloured kicker on there as well. And these hooks are from Rigworks, and they are great, straight out the packet, really sharp, and check them every time I bring them in, or if I have a fish, and they stay sharp for ages. And I've caught a lot of fish using this presentation this year, and it's served me well. So quite a long hair, but I'm fishing this one snowman style, so you'll see how it sits once I put the bait on. I'm using trap bottom bait. Trap bottom baits have been glugged in the matching trap liquid, and they've been sitting in this pot for quite a while actually, so they're quite well boosted. And I'm going to pop that one on the hair, and then I'm going to top that off with a 10mm pop-up. These are the Incredible Baits Seed Sensation pop-ups. Really sweet, highly attractive, and you've got a 10mm pop-up sitting on top of a 16mm bottom bait, and it balances perfectly, just sits really proud. Nice bit of attraction on the top, sort of fleck of colour on the top, with the bottom bait underneath. Hook sits flat, and it's a nice presentation. So with a slightly longer hair as well, obviously with the blowback, it flies straight back in, and I've had some great hook holes off this year. So it's definitely a presentation and components that I'm confident in and will carry on using. Coupled with that, when I put the bait out, I will be hooking on a little mesh bag. Now I've made a mix which consists of trap bottom baits put through the crusher. So there's some big bits in there, some little bits, there's plenty of boilie crumb in there. There's trap stick mix in there and matching trap pellets, lots of different size pellets, and also a few halibut pellets in there. There's little 4mm halibut pellets in there as well, just to give it a slightly different flavour. There's some trap liquid in there as well, just to sort of bind it a little bit more, and just add a little bit of attraction as well, just to leak off. And simply putting this into a mesh bag. I've been using this mesh for a little while now. This is from the Mesh Man. It's great stuff. It's a nice fine mesh, so when you've got your stick mix in there, and your powders, etc., and the boilie crumb, the really fine boilie crumb, you're not going to lose a lot of it out there, which is great. So simply just going to tie that off in the normal way, and what we're ultimately presented with then is a little parcel of goodies that we can simply hook on to the rig, just to help mask the hook on the cast, make sure it doesn't get caught up on anything, but then ultimately once that dissolves, then you're left with a nice little parcel just around the hook bait. Obviously this time of year there's not going to be a mass need for huge amounts of food. Nice little mouthful, plenty of scent in the water. Obviously the boiling crumb etc will be floating up and around and in different layers of the water, so hopefully it might draw them down, and we can get a bite. Just fishing for a bite, really. That's the idea, really. You know, it's very quick and easy to bring it back in, reset it, maybe try it somewhere else, and just sort of see, you know, especially if something shows, if there is a show, you can get it back in and back out very quickly. So can pre-tie a lot of these bags up very quickly, and just have them ready to go. You know, if you miscast or if you want to move it somewhere else, you can just bring it in, hook one on, off you go. It's a very easy way of doing it. So so get the rod back out now. Just going to flick it out to the island that's in front of me, and see if we can get him interested. Fingers crossed. So we get to the end of the session. It's been a blank one. Pretty much everything's packed away now, just the rods left. Finishing my last brew, bit of consolation, but yeah, it's been really quiet all over the whole lake. There was one fish out last night from one of the other guys that was here. It was all I've been aware of. Another chap turned up for the day, not had anything. Yeah, it's just been a really quiet one all round. Nothing's showing, nothing seems to be moving. Apart from behind me, there's a bay behind me which has been closed off since the first lockdown, and they've not opened it up, and there's no lines going in there, and there haven't been since probably March, and a lot of the fish seem to be hanging out in there for some reason. Well, we know why, obviously. They know they're not going to be caught in there, they're not silly. That's the only place I've seen and heard anything happen on the entire lake. But we'll go again. Next week I'll be back. We'll try again and see what we can do, and see if they're in the mood next week. But they haven't been in the mood this week, unfortunately. But it's one of those. That's fishing, isn't it? You know, take the good sessions and take the bad sessions and see what happens. So not overly exciting, this one, unfortunately. Quite a short blog as well, I would imagine this is going to be. I say move on to next week and see how we go and see if they're in the mood. But for now, that's it. Finish my tea, get the rods in and get myself home. But I'll speak to you when I'm back up the lake. Thanks for watching.